Okay, just wanted to update you a little bit on affiliate distributors. I know you guys have heard this term. We've been part of affiliate distributors for as long as I can remember. So I just want to give you an update on affiliate distributors, what it is, why we're part of that. Bob and I just attended a North American meeting a couple weeks ago down in Grapevine, Texas. But I just want to give you the background, what they all do and everything, so why we're a member and why it's good for suppliers and why it's good for distributors. So if you go to AD's website, if you go back here on the screen there, I did put down a website. It's a really easy website. It's just www.hdhq.com. So if you get a chance, just click on that, look at it. A lot of information there. So on the website it says, and this is actually for suppliers. Why should suppliers be part of this? And it says there, when an independent distributor joins AD, they're confident that AD provides the strongest financial networking and programmatic benefits to help them grow their business. At AD, we are passionate about ensuring each individual's members' needs are met and expectations exceeded. We do this by setting the membership standards, high membership standards, partnering with the best-in-class suppliers, and leveraging our supply to scale and invest in resources to help win today and into the future. That's for suppliers. That's what they're looking for distributors there. For the suppliers, why is it a benefit for a supplier? Like, why is it a benefit for Milwaukee Valve to be part of AD? Why is it a benefit for Watts McDaniel to be part of AD? Why is it a benefit for Sarco to be part of AD? Here's what they're saying for that. Collectively, AD members are bigger than any national chain, outpace overall industry growth, and are leaders when it comes to supporting brands and introducing new products to the market. As an AD supplier partner, your relationship with AD, a $32 billion network, positively impacts your ability to improve your sales mix, drive new product sales, and increase your top line growth. You need independence to succeed. If they do well, you do well. AD members are locally owned and operated and offer a higher level of personal attention to end users. They share your commitment to long-term success and will favor you and your commitment to independence. So to be part of AD, any distributor that joins AD, you have to be an independent distributor. There's no national companies that can be part of AD. It's all independent, small companies like us. I mean, there's some that are actually a lot larger than us, but they have to be independently owned to be part of AD. So there's no national chains that are part of AD. So that's what differentiates us from the Ferguson in the world, or the Hajokas, or some bigger ones you see out there, MRC. That's why all the independents get together and band together as AD, so we have buying power more than any national chain. So that's why suppliers want to work with the independents more.
Yeah, for an example, as far as it allowing us to compete on more of an even playing field with somebody like Ferguson, if we were on our own and not part of this buying group and had to purchase on our own, depending on our volume, there are some companies, some manufacturers that we would be able to make some deals with as far as getting rebates back and stuff like that. But for somebody like, just say Wheatland Pipe, for example, we wouldn't be able to buy anywhere close to the pricing that somebody like Ferguson has. I don't know if you remember, it's been about 2 years now since pipe the lead times were out almost 2 months, 8 to 10 weeks it was taking to get pipe. And our rep showed us, he had sent a back order list of what they had, what was on back order for all of their customers. And it showed us they still owed us like 6 bundles of 3-inch pipe. Ferguson had on back order 10 truckloads of just 3-inch pipe. 10 full truckloads of just one size. So obviously, they're getting a much better pricing to buy that type of volume. But the fact that we're part of AD and all of the companies are supporting Wheatland, they give us that competitive pricing so that we can be on an even playing field with them.
Do we seem to be?
We're very, as long as we're competing with domestic versus domestic, we're very competitive. Yes.
So Bob and I did attend the meeting in Grapevine, Texas back in September. They say this is a meeting, there was like say, I forget how many independents, you can go on the website to see how many independents are part of that, how many suppliers are part of it. It'll tell you that. There was 949 people that attended this event, so it's a pretty large event. It's a pretty large hotel, and I'll go down through and show you this. The theme of the whole meeting was Ascend. They always have a different theme, their meetings there. So one thing, I mean, this is, like I say, AD is so committed to making things work and everything. Now AD they have the plumbing, heating, and PVF one. They have industrial, they have electrical, they have drywall. What else do they have, Bob? Is that? They have several different divisions. This meeting was just plumbing and PVF, the one we were at. That's all it was for. They have other meetings for all the other divisions, like the electrical division and everything. So, but they actually came up with an app on your phone for the meeting where it'll tell you where you're supposed to be, what room, what time. It gives you a list of all the attendings there. It'll give you a place to take notes. When you're in the meeting, you can take notes on the app. It also, there's a little, for better words, a little blog that people can put on there and just go down through, just show what's going on in the meeting and everything. So it's pretty cool. The app didn't work 100%. It did work pretty cool, though. We used it a lot while we were down there, but it wasn't 100% foolproof. So, but they've been doing that for a couple of years now. It actually works pretty good when it does work. So, just to show you a couple of things we did in the meeting. I mean, we get a packed meeting when we're down there. We're down there 4 days. So, but we usually get in there like a Monday afternoon, and we start a session, somewhere around 2:30 or so, and that'll go down to like 6 o'clock or so, and then we have what's called a welcome reception where all the suppliers, all the distributors all get together just to talk to each other. We get to just meet different people. So that goes till, I don't know, past 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock at night or so. But anyhow, so we usually start out, pretty early. Our breakfast usually starts around 6:30 in the morning. You can see we start out with a business meeting, right at 7:30 in the morning. And then we go to individual network meetings where I sat in with the owners and of other companies, and Bob sat in a group that's just purchasing. So they just talk different. We have different. Obviously, you can't be in one big network group. So they pick different network groups. They get a couple people from this area, a couple people from this area, pull them together. And there's probably, how many network groups is there? 15. 15 network groups or so. So we have just a sampling from each different area. So we probably sit in a group of, I'm going to say our group, there's probably 17, 18 people or so. Bob, how many is in your group? How about the same or so in your group? But Bob's just talking about purchasing. They actually had a speaker come in and talk the purchasing side of it. So we go through those meetings, and then we go back after we're done with those meetings. We're in those meetings for about 3 hours or so, talking that. Then we go to a lunch where the keynote speaker is Bill Weisberg, who's the CEO of AD. And he goes over, some data, what's going on in AD, where different distributors are at, where suppliers are at. And then we go into our booth appointments. We start those usually, and they're every 20 minutes. We sit down with the vendor. And I'll show you little pictures on the. I have some booths here we can show you. Every 20 minutes we have a time schedule. You go to different booths. So there's a big conference area, and it's got, how many booths, Bob? I'll show you pictures of a lot of them. But you're assigned to, let's say we're assigned to Milwaukee Valve at 2 o'clock. So we're there until 2:20, and then we get 3 minutes or so to get to our next booth. So we sit down and talk to them, work out some things. We'll go over our different booth appointments that we sat at. So that goes on every 20 minutes. We're changing up to about 5 o'clock. They have the awards then after that. And usually what that is, they'll get awards for the best supplier. They'll get awards for the best distributor, the conversion awards. There's all different types of awards they'll give out. They do ones called Giving Back. If somebody does a lot in the community and everything, that that donates a lot of their time to the community, they do awards for that too. So that usually lasts up to probably around 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So it's a pretty packed day. The next day, we get up, and they actually have a good group of Christian people there that they do a meeting breakfast with them in the morning. So Bob and I usually attend that. And then we do a conference booth appointments from From 8:30, 11:30 we go for lunch, and we go back in from 11:30 till about 5 o'clock. Booth points every 20 minutes the whole day. We're just going to different booths and talk to different vendors all day. So, and then usually we go out to a dinner with another supplier in that evening or so. And then the next morning we get up and we just do booth appointments till 11:30, and then we fly back. So it's a pretty packed event while you're down there. Usually when you get back to your hotel room, you're sleeping pretty quick, right? This is a picture of, this is actual pictures of here. Amy just sent these out on Friday. This is the keynote when we went for lunch the first day. The keynote speaker, Bill Weisberg's up there. And you can just see how big a room and how many people are in this room here. And it talks, they say it's a pretty big event. As you can see, the booth sessions here, this is just a picture of the booth sessions here, where, we sit for 20 minutes, we go to another booth. You see a couple guys sitting, there. This is actually the Combraco Apollo Valve booth here. This actually is Glenn Mozak, and that's Cal Mozak, the two brothers that owned Apollo Valve for years. They're part of a bigger organization now, but we sit down and talk to them. Even though we're not really big in Apollo, we do that and sit down and talk to them. So that's just some examples. This is the room where the booths are at. And they kind of lay it out, like here's HVAC, and here's HVAC plumbing, and then there's plumbing, and this could be plumbing, dual here, and then there's PVF and plumbing, and then there's PVF all the way in the end. So we do plumbing and PVF, so we range all the way, across here. So that's all that you see. A lot of different booths, a lot of different manufacturers are there that we get a chance to talk to, and maybe we don't have an appointment with one booth. Bob and I walk by, and at a break or something like that, we'll go talk to them and find out what's going on, with them. So we kind of suggest who we want to be with a booth, and the suppliers request us to meet with them. Just because there's so many people, it doesn't always work out. We don't get all the ones we requested, so we try to get to them and talk to them anyhow. So how many booth appointments do we have? 35, something like that. So while we're sitting at the booths, I'm just going to go over a couple of things, just to give you some updates here. We usually put together a spreadsheet, so we have some notes to sit down and talk to the manufacturers while we're there. It could be good, it could be bad. We try to find out what's new, what's going on with the vendors. So just like, we sat down with Milwaukee Tool, and there's a new infrared thermometer that's coming out right now. They have a really expensive one. They have a lower cost one now. So we're looking at possibly, getting a demo unit and doing some training on that. So we sat down and talked to Dixon Sanitary. There was some problems with pricing on Williamsport. They weren't getting the same price as York was getting. I think Jim LeClaire had that fixed by lunchtime. He came over to us. He said, we met with him at, what time did we, I forget what time we met with him. Anyhow,
They were our first.
we met with him. And we met with him, I forget if it was lunch or dinner or whatever like that. He said, I got it fixed. I already called and got it fixed. So it was already taken care of. So
It's just a good opportunity because you're meeting with the highest decision makers of these companies. So if you have a problem, they're taking care of it. You're not talking to the inside salesperson who's then passing it on to the manager, who's then hopefully passing it on to somebody else. So, another thing with Dixon Sanitary, we have on the shelf, and we still had on hold a very large order of repair kits that Saputo was using over and over and over again. Well, they completely stopped using them. They went to a whole different system and how they were going for us to discuss a way to try to make that go away and create a return, and in exchange, maybe do a pallet program as far as bringing in some additional stock material. And those kind of, it gave us an opportunity to work that out. They've already canceled the back order, and he's working on taking back the stuff that we have on the shelf. Okay. So it is really good in that aspect as far as getting to meet with the key decision makers in those companies.
and again, we were talking to Dixon Sanitary. They're looking at a pallet program to buy Dixon Sanitary products large volumes at a time, get a better deal on that. So, Bob's looking at the possibility of doing that. Is it worth doing it? So, talked about that. At the Viga booth, they are going to have mega press for stainless, 1/2 through 2 inch. by January 2017. Now, that date could be moved back a little bit, but that's what they're telling us right now. So you'll see Mega Press 4 stainless. You'll be able to press stainless steel Schedule 40 with the Vega system. So one thing is there's been some question, are we charging enough for our rental tool? And we talked to the guy, and they said the average that we're seeing right now is at least $50 every time you rent it. We were charged $25. So you see we're up in that a little bit now. So, I mean, that was off of their recommendation. So one of the booths we sat at was Kirkcube Manufacturing. And, you know, they do some flanges for us, everything. They said, just keep in mind, we're a machine shop. So you have any large volume items you need made, let's look at that. Let's look at some drawings, see what we can do. We'll quote you a price on that. I don't care if it's a flange. I don't care if it's some pin. I don't care if it's a special thing. If you have an OEM that's using, you know, large volumes of something needs to be machined, whether it's stainless, carbon steel, I mean, just about any alloy you could probably think of, they'll machine it and make it for you.
And that's another good example. We talked to, they were basically their head of sales there, Lothar, and we talked about the dowel pins that we sell to Frick, JCI. We buy them like 1,000 at a time from this place called Mapco. I mean, I've never seen anybody from Mapco. We'll see if we can do them. And they put it through their engineering. They made a couple test, pieces, and he's like, we can do it. We can do it, for the same price. And he's still finalizing to see if they can do it better, but he said we can match the price and we can do it in the same amount of lead time. So that's something that we can convert, to AD, and again, just build on that relationship with Kirkcube. There's not really anything else that we're buying from this other supplier, so we're not going to grow that relationship.
Right.
But if we can add something else to the table with Kirkcube, who does a really good job on specialty flanges and different things like that for us, well, that just improves that relationship.
So you're saying a lot of the stuff that we send over Sloth Hour, we could probably get through them?
It's
Large
if it's large quantities,
Large
it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Now, somebody like Sloth Hour, even though they're not AD, it's a local company, and
right.
we certainly want to support local companies. So that's not necessarily one that we would pull away, but a company that we're buying out in the Midwest that we don't buy anything else from.
Right.
That makes sense to take a look at.
So just keep them in mind. We did sit down and talk to Flexos, and they're just saying, hey, look, we missed some for pricing. Give them a second chance. If you're getting a better price somewhere, from another hose, let them know that. Just say, hey, we'll work with you. So again, we're possibly looking at stocking some small expansion compensators, maybe some small flex hoses to keep in stock here. We had a couple of requests for some 1/2 and 3/4 inch flex hoses, so we're looking at the possibility of stocking some of those. So sat down and talked to Watts McDaniel. They're going to have a price increase November 1st. New price book is coming out. The end of October, we're going to have some training on Watts McDaniel. We have lunch and learn on Watts McDaniel training just to go over the new the price book and everything. So also they have a new stainless steel type O regulator out. I know a lot of the food processing want a little stainless regulator for their application, so that's out now. And Watts McDaniel has a new website now. So they're working on some different things. They're working on some apps for phones and everything. So some different things coming along from Watts McDaniel. The other thing we looked at, we sit down and talked to Hodel Natco. They just say there's so much more opportunity for us in their business, so we might possibly look into stocking a couple of things they think we can sell, some fasteners, some different things, whether it's the screws that tap cons go into the wall, whatever. But they're willing to work with us on that.
Yeah, they're basically saying, try it. If it doesn't sell, we'll take it back. I mean, it's fasteners; they don't go bad, so they're like. One of the things I've been pushing for is to try to get us to sell some of the more large diameter bolt sets. When we send out 16 and 18, 20, 22 inch flanges, we're never selling bolt sets with those. So, maybe we take a look at having some of that stuff on the shelf and see if we can, get it as an add-on. And also, being more aggressive with some of these companies' bin stocks that we're working with and trying to get some fastener business that way. So, again, a lot of these companies are very willing to give us some opportunities to try some things, and because of the relationships we have, if they don't work out, just take them back.
You might want to look into the gaskets, actually, getting the bigger sizes of gaskets.
Again,
there's a lot of
yeah,
customers that want, they got 14-inch, you know, flanges, and we ain't got
Right.
nothing for them.
Right, I agree.
They buy a red rubber sheet and then make their own,
Yep.
but nothing
Yep.
right there for them.
One of the things is we sat down and talked to Anvil, and the way AD works is, I mean, it's based off of our sales volumes, and we get rebates back based off that. And some of the companies have tiers. If you hit a tier, you get another rebate. One thing Anvil sat down is we look at numbers. We go through this with all our vendors. We're sitting down with them, and it's okay, you're so close to hitting that next tier. So, you know, Bob's got a goal. I mean, he's pretty sure he can hit that, but he's saying, look, you're right there. And Bob can go online anytime and see where we're at, getting to that next tier and getting another rebate from them. So we sat down, we talked to them about that. It's like, look, you guys got to get to this. This is just, you know, so we're looking into that. One thing with Mueller Industries, I mean, our copper fittings, they have a press line now. They actually purchased Jungwoo, right, Bob? Jungwoo, so they have press. So I'm not saying we're going to use that, but just beware, you know, it's out there.
It could be just an opportunity where if you know you're going, if you're competing in a job where you know that they're going to be pricing something that isn't Viga. I mean, if it's Viga against Viga, we should be able to, what we have as good a pricing as everybody else. It's just a matter of how cheap the competitor wants to sell it. But if you know that the competitor is going to be quoting Nibco press or some other type of cheaper press, it's a big job, we might be able to take a look at it, because just the standard pricing from Mueller is about 10% less than
Now,
the Viga press.
Her stuff's basically domestic, so you press domestic as well.
The Mueller press is not domestic, it's
Okay.
Jungwoo, it's Korean.
Korean.
Yeah.
Their sweat fittings are domestic.
Their problem is their minimum. That's,
Also, we sat down with APG, and we're looking at, obviously, we buy our gas, some of our gaskets from them, some packing from them. We talked a little bit about O-rings. I mean, a lot of customers come in looking for some O-rings, so we might stock some O-ring kits at the counter. They're relatively expensive. Some guys need some O-ring kits, and we put some of those at the counter. We talked to Pen Machine for a while. We know those Pen Machine very well. So we sit down and talk to them. Pen Machine is predicting a surge in their industry coming up next year. They just think the industry's going to take off, and they're just stockpiling product, and they really geared up for this. So they think that's, you know, they think it's going to take off next year. So, and they have places in Houston, they have places here, you know, New Jersey and Pennsylvania too. So, one thing with we talked to Core Pipe. I mean, they're a great company. We buy. They have a lot of domestic fittings and everything. But just keep in mind, 12-inch and up domestics, they also have import fittings, and they can be competitive in that. So we were at their facility 2 years ago or so. They have inventory. I mean, they have their warehouse is twice as high as our warehouse, and they have racks that go all the way to the ceiling. About it, Bob.
It's a little scary.
It is. They have piles of inventory. So keep them in mind when you're looking for anything stainless. Just give them a call. See if
Yeah,
they can be competitive.
Zimmy just had 2 pretty nice orders that we were able to send their way for some larger domestic stuff.
We talked to the Milrose company. Well, who's that? Well, you've heard of Blue Monster. That's another product, and we already have that. If we talk to them, and you know, they're close more part of the plumbing end of that, but we can still buy from them. We looked at their product, everything. Says, hey, we have it stocked now. So you know, that's a product that our customers were, you know, asking for. We went down there, we worked out a deal with them. I
You know, a
we're
lot
back
of
here
people
with
want the pipe dope.
What's that?
A lot of people
And we'll
want the
probably
pipe
be
dope.
bringing that in. We kind of looked at what we've been selling. We've been selling a lot of the tape. Deplete some of our inventory of some of our other stuff from Lake Laco. We'll probably cross it over. I just didn't want to have. I want to make sure we kind of blow through some of the inventory that we have on the shelf. But we will be bringing in the Blue Monster pipe dope. They also have a new PVC cement that has primer already in it.
It's a one step.
So it's a one-step thing, and they've got a bunch of different other products too. So, you know, it just could be another, you know, just an accessory line that we can grow.
see, we're always looking for new products. I think we're back a week till you ordered that product in. It
And
turned
it
around
was,
real quick.
it was
So,
here
yeah.
in 2 days, so they
Yeah.
shipped pretty quick.
So, Crestline plastic, possible increase coming. Not sure if it's going to stick. They're not sure where the market's at right now, but they're thinking a possible increase coming. We sat down and talked to Sharp Valves. Just keep them in mind for any valve actuation. Anything actuated real quick, anything carbon, stainless, they can turn that around real quick. I mean, their availability is real good. They have a real big facility out there. So, one thing Bob and I wanted to stop and see was we hear a lot of. Have you guys heard of Uponor piping system before? We've heard that come out a couple of jobs around here. So we want to see what it's all about. So they're part of AD. So we made an appointment with the booth and we sat down and talked to them. And interesting system is similar to a PEX system. You actually, it has a tool where you expands it and it puts it back in the line. So we sat down and talked to them. And said, hey, let's get together some more to see what we can do. They don't have any strong distribution out in this area. A couple of jobs came into this area, but no strong distribution. So we're looking to see if that's a fit for us. But we have the information, we made the contacts, and we can decide that. So we sat down. One of the booths we sat in was Supply Force. I don't know if you guys know what Supply Force is. Supply Force is like an integrator that's part of AD. So we sat down and talked to those guys. They have some stuff starting to go on with Armstrong possibly now, and Treehouse Foods too. So we're going to work with them. So we're both in Supply Force in the government side of it and in the private sector too. So we can do Supply Force. So we really don't want to push that too much because obviously we're selling through Supply Force. They take their chunk of percentage. If we sell direct, we get a better margin. But we realize that some large companies need to do that integrated supply. So we have that option with Supply Force. So we also sat in a couple meetings with Supply Force. Supply Force had a breakfast meeting one morning we went to, so we sat in with them on that. So one thing with Ward Manufacturing, sat down and talked to those guys. Ward Manufacturing owns Wisconsin Nipple. And they used all domestic pipe to make their nipples for years and years. They switched over to blending their pipe to some import pipe. Their customers did not like that. They're in the process right now going back to all domestic pipe. So their nipples will be all domestic. So that's a source for us for if you need domestic nipples. So we can do that. So you'll probably hear more about that. So we sat down with Elkhart Products. Even though we don't know business with them, we sat down and talked to them. We really kind of got to watch them because Elkhart has a press system. They're looking to come in with a stainless press system. So we kind of got to watch. And they're owned by the same company that owns Lasco and Apollo Valve. So they're all kind of that umbrella of them. So you can buy Lasco, Apollo, and Elkhart on one purchase order now because they're all under that same company. So we're just kind of watching them. But
Yeah, they're supposed to be adding MegaPress too
yeah.
by the end of next year.
So we'll see how that all
It'll be
works
interesting
out.
to see how the market changes with that.
And again, we just sat down and talked to Firmco. We've done a fair amount of business with Firmco this year. We just want to sit down and talk to them. And Bob and I are saying, well, it's just rubber couplings. What's big about that? So we're talking to them a little bit because we want to see what's going on. And they make a lot of different expansion couplings. And they actually came out with a white coupling now because people were saying, well, you have white pipe and you put this black coupling on there, it just sticks out and looks crummy. So they started making these white couplings. So we can actually get white couplings now, from Firmco. So interesting things you find out. I didn't know they made white couplings, but interesting. So
Yeah, just a couple other ones. Franklin Electric, they are the company that makes the Little Giant pumps. Little Giant is what Latchall, Montgomery, and Peck is going to be repping now instead of Hydromatic. So we'll be switching to stocking them, and they also have a lot deeper breadth of offerings on some pumps that we'll be looking at. And I think they're doing their lunch and learn next week or. It's this
next
month.
week, but it's coming. It's
this month.
You'll hear information coming
So
out.
we'll get more
We have
information
really
on that. Who else? Bristol Metals. We've been we've had some opportunities with them on stainless steel pipe. It's stainless steel welded pipe. As soon as you're getting above 4 inches, they're real competitive. They've found that on large quantities of 4 inch and up, they've been even able to beat some of the import pricing. So it's something to consider if you have a quote to do on a large quantity of stainless steel. It's got to be welded.
It's domestic, right?
And it's domestic. They also have some other alloys that they can work with too. So just keep them in mind. And Dixie Pipe is another one. We've done very little with them over the year because we're so close to Kelly and Murfish. But they do have kind of a milk truck run that goes to New Jersey, and they could stop here to deliver if it's something that we can't find at either of those places. If it's like a Fusion Bond or an X65, something that's kind of an oddball.
It's timing. Depends when they're coming through.
Yeah, it's it could work out. So just to keep them in mind, it could be a possibility. So just a couple other ones to think about.
One thing with AD, not only do they have suppliers there, they have service providers that work with AD. So as we go down the booth, all these service providers are there, and you can pick a couple of them out, like Epicor. Eclipse, they're a service provider for AD. Focus, who we use, they're a service provider for AD. So there's a lot of different, Blue Volt, who we do our training through, they're a service provider for AD. So it's more than just suppliers there, the service providers too that help AD. Now we don't use all these. There's some more that we could use, but these are all service providers for AD. So just a couple of things, notes at the meeting. There's a record number of attending, 949 people. And as we sat in some of these seminars, they're looking at online sales, they're looking at millennial people and what's going to happen. So, and just a couple things that they pointed out. Bob and I were sitting there in the one PVF meeting, and they're talking about participation. Let's just say all our vendors here in our total sales, what percentage of that do we give to AD vendors? And the average, which Bob and I just sit there and was just like, oh my gosh, that's just staggering. The average member in the PVF side of AD is 21% of their sales is AD vendors. Right now, ours is right around 60%, right, Bob?
We're at 64 this year, right now.
Okay, so we're up from there right now. So, but that's our commitment to AD. Now, some distributors sell more waterworks where they don't have those vendors in AD. But we've made a commitment to promoting AD and using AD vendors. It just makes sense to use these vendors. We get rebates back. They're better vendors to work for. And if we all do that, the whole over AD grows, and there's more there they can do. So it just makes sense. So they're a big push this year to try to get that percentage up with all. That's what we talked about when I was in my group, about how do we get everybody to commit to that more. So a couple things they pointed out with millennials and everything is by 2020, online sales will be 12% of our business. Right now, online sales are 1% of our business. Personally, at IPS, we're 1% right now. Sometimes a little bit less than that, sometimes a little bit more. They said by 2020, 12% of our business will be online sales. 45% of millennials use online as a first approach. They don't pick up that phone and call. They're looking online. So, we got to look down the road, research. What are we doing? What's our online website look like? Is it easy for a customer? Can they go and use that? All of us buy from Amazon or whatever. We get online. It's easy to buy. Boom, it's at your house in 2 days. It's easy. So that's the way the millennials think. So we have to look into that now. So we're doing some research on what is the best way and how do we do that. So, but again, AD is a great company. It's a great organization to be part of. We learn a lot when we go down to the North American meetings. We get to sit with other distributors that are our size. We get to sit with some that are smaller than us. We get to sit with some that are larger than us, and they tell us some of the things we're having problems with or things that are working well with them. So it's amazing how open people are at AD to talk and other distributors. They're just, hey, we're working this deal out, we're working with this, we're doing well with them, we're not doing well with them, we're trying to. It's all confidential, but, like I say, I sat down there and, we had discussion with Jim Gingrich from Jaeger Supply. I've talked to him for a little while. How about it, Bob? Just talking about what they're doing, what we're doing, and everything. So, and they're a competition, but we're friendly competition. So, we get to talk to a lot of different manufacturers, find out what's going on, and again, it's build relationships. So they know, okay, we got a Ferguson coming in the area, and we have IPS in there to sell to. Which is the better one to work with? So, so hopefully the relationship we have, talking to some of these manufacturers and vendors can help us. If we have a problem with the manufacturer, we need a price break because of a big job. We have the contacts. We know them now, so we can call them and say, hey, we need better price. We need you to fix this. We need to do this. Can you do something for us? So it's a great program and it does work. We commit a lot of time to this, but it's well worth it. I mean, it just keeps us connected. We know all over the United States what business is doing, what other distributors doing, how it works, what's going on. Bob gets to see, I'll talk to the purchasing guys, and different things they're doing in purchasing and everything. We see all over different company things, what they're doing and everything. So it's just a good program to be part of. We get to see a lot of different things we wouldn't get to see or discuss a lot of different things. So
Yeah, one of the things I'll just piggyback on as far as the participation rate. I mean, you know that I've always been pushing. Let's find the AD company, and I had the opportunity to actually facilitate the group of purchasers at the meeting we were at. And it was right after we had the meeting where we got this number, and I was asking the purchasers straight up, I'm like, where are you buying this material from that's outside of the group? And obviously Victolic's a big one. Weldben's a big one. We use Weldben. It hasn't made sense for us to switch from Weldben yet. They have a great product, good service, great inventory. And there's not really a really good option to go inside the group. There is an option, but it would be two suppliers. We'd basically have to go to Hackney for the fittings, and we'd have to go to probably Kirkue for the flanges. So we'd be going from 1 to 2 suppliers. Lead times and inventory is not very good with Hackney. You have to basically be able to predict 6 months in advance and have a lot on the shelf to be able to keep your inventory right with Hackney. With Weldben, even though it's a good amount, they've lowered our free freight allowance to make it a little bit easier, so they've really worked with us. Victolic, most of them they basically just said, well, we're scared to switch it to Groove Lock. A lot of them buy from Multiloy, they buy from Service Metals, they buy from Texas Pipe, all of those with good AD options, but for them, it's how long that they've been buying it from these guys. It's a path of least resistance. We've done it. Somebody calls and orders something. We look up history. We see it was an Ashcroft gauge or whatever. We say, oh, we got it from Derbyshire. We just order it. We don't even take the time or think about crossing it over to a Traris. Same thing. So there's other things like that. So, I mean, the bottom line is all of that extra participation that's going to AD is going to the bottom line of our company in the form of rebates, which goes to profit sharing and potential bonuses, depending on what kind of year we have. So the more we send to AD, the more it goes to that number. So it's just an encouragement to continue to look for opportunities to make some crossovers. Think about some products that maybe we don't have on the shelf that maybe we should have on the shelf, because we haven't shied away from putting things on the shelf as far as at least trying them. You guys, even at the counters, if if a guy comes in and asks you for something that we don't have, and you hear that more than once, just come in and say something to me. Say, hey Bob, I've had like 3-4 guys ask me for this product and we don't have it. Maybe we should take a look at it, and put it on the shelf. So, we want to just be, constantly keeping your antenna up to look for opportunities to grow our business. So, and again, that's why we support AD and AD supports us. So,
Do you have any new ones?
new suppliers. Well, we talked about Franklin Electric. Milrose will be a new one. Those will be the two primary ones. We also talked to, he mentioned Uponor. We're looking at PEX because PEX is starting to make more of an industrial push. They're getting larger and larger sizes. They're up to 3-inch now in PEX. So there are definitely some major advantages to using PEX over other systems. So we've dabbled because we have a couple guys that are using some bin stock now with Miller and Sons, and I think one of the fire companies has some bin stock too. So we have some Legend PEX stock, and that could be who we end up using, but we'll probably bring in some more PEX. So those three. So, not sure which PEX vendor, but we'd probably bring in a more complete line with PEX, the Franklin Electric and the Milrose. Those are probably the three main ones. As far as a conversion from what we have now, we've done a pretty good job of converting most of our stuff. As far as, our last big one obviously was Alpha to Dixon Sanitary, and that's been a huge one for us. There are still a number of items that we get. There's really not an AD option yet. We do a lot with B&G through RD Bitzer. Not really a viable AD option to go. So we're never going to be 100%.
Right.
But AD would be tickled to death if the participation rate was up to 40%, and we're at 64%. So, kudos to you guys. We're doing a good job. You've looked for those opportunities because our number has grown over the last 5-6 years. So, we're doing a good job, but you can always get better. You don't want to stand still. So we're just going to keep looking for opportunities to, we've looked at just something little that hasn't been a big item for us that could be another conversion if we can find the market share for it. Is we always had our PNC Ford steel gate valves on the shelf. Well, the same ones from Sharp are 20% cheaper. So, I've already flagged our RPNC ones non-stock, and if we determine that it makes sense to put them back on the shelf, they're going to come back on the shelf in the form of Sharp valves, so we can make some more money and have the same level, quality.
And they're always looking for new manufacturers too to bring in. They're looking for new suppliers and looking for new manufacturers. So they're constantly looking for that. So it could be, and there could be a new manufacturer come on the next 2 months or so. So things can change. So. Any other questions on AD? I'd say it's a good program. It's well worth us being involved in it, and all the other distributors that we deal with down there too. They're committed, to AD. So good. Okay, that's all we have. Thank you.